The first step is always avoid the stuff that depletes you on a daily basis or that causes harm or causes health in the first place. Like I call it the core four sickness, and you probably know it's gluten-containing grains, all the processed foods, sugar, obviously, as every dentist would say, refined vegetable oils, and I also say conventional dairy.
If I'm about to have a kid, what are the things I need to do to ensure my child has the best oral health?
First of all, you have to take care of yourself as the mom, like basically build yourself up from within so that you have no nutritional deficiencies, because otherwise your baby will deplete you. And the goal should be that you feed yourself as much of the crucial nutrients as possible to build a healthy baby. And actually, this will later on develop very great. So it is all about nutrition and lifestyle during pregnancy.
Okay, and I know that you're huge on nutrition. One of your favorite things to talk about. What are some nutrients, or what things do we need to look for? What do I tell my partner, or if a woman's listening to this, what does she have to write down or learn more about together? What can we start doing nutrient-wise?
The most critical nutrients is basically, first of all, think from macro to micro. It's always, as I say, I call it the food design concept, or thinking in nutrients. Basically, all, from proteins to healthy fats, ongoing to the micronutrients, which is the most critical one, would probably be vitamin D3, vitamin K2, magnesium. I hear you talk a lot about these things, but I'm always thinking from macro to micro. So first of all, it's probably protein, because this is where I see the most deficiencies. Like essential amino acids would be ideal scenario. So I'm just referring a little bit also to the peers in biological dentistry, which is Weston Price. You probably heard of him. This guy lived 100 years ago, and he was actually leading the American Dental Association, and he did a lot of research when it comes to nutrition. He wrote a good book, Nutrition, Physical Degeneration. What he found out was that if you eat kind of like our ancestors did, with lots of natural whole foods, animal-based most likely, that you will have a great facial development as well as a body development. And he realized back then, 100 years ago already, that with all the processed foods introduced into the modern society, that this led to crowded teeth, spacing issues, mouth breathing, gingivitis, periodontitis, and tooth decay. And this is the same thing nowadays. Like our teenagers, 100 years later, they look the same, like little tiny, let's say, monsters when it comes to facial development. And actually, same holds true for the baby, which is in your womb. So what you should be looking at is, how did we naturally evolve? And which nutrients did we get out of our food? And this is what I call by thinking in nutrients, because I have so many patients coming in from everywhere, and they have, there's so many mindsets when it comes to nutrition. One wants to be a vegan, the other one wants to be a carnivore. Then we have low carb, high carb, and all these things, keto, intermittent fasting. And this is why I don't want to change your mindset, but I want you to know as a patient, okay, those are the nutrients you should look for. And the easiest is obviously eating animal, because it just gives you more bang for your buck. And especially obviously in your pregnancy, when you need to build another human, it's crucial that you feed yourself the right things. But I always start one step earlier. I always call it, don't lose health in the first place. So the first step is always avoid the stuff that depletes you on a daily basis or that causes harm or causes health in the first place. Like I call it the core four sickness, and you probably know it's gluten-containing grains, all the processed foods, sugar, obviously, as every dentist would say, refined vegetable oils, and I also say conventional dairy, because those are basically the foods we eat. All the processed foods, all the convenience foods, all the fast foods are made, especially in Germany, or also, I believe also in the US, are made from these foods. And those make the whole problem. And also obviously builds an inferior kid later on.
I see. So what you're really focusing on is the stuff that we can up and is a lot easier, like you said, from the macro level. It's interesting because a lot of us are protein deficient, even though we're overfed. We're eating so much food, but we're not getting enough protein. You mentioned, and there's a lot of people who are plant-based. Can someone be pregnant and plant-based, in your opinion?
Yes, it's always possible. I just always say plant-based is not foolproof. You really have to dig deep into how plants, basically how to digest plants. I would look into Ayurvedic medicine, because those cultures evolved around eating plants, because they made the cows like sacred and didn't eat from them, or animals. So they basically had to make it work with plants. So things like fermenting, sprouting, all the things you do to soaking and washing all the grains, all the things you need to do, or combining, and the herbs, in order to get the nutrients out of the plants, and also to get rid of the plant defensins or the pesticides and all the things in the plants. If you know all these things, and if you do so, you very well be able to get enough proteins and amino acids and nutrients from the plants. But already telling you this, I know that 80% of people that go plant-based, they have no idea that they basically have to soak their beans and their legumes in order to make them eatable or digestible, because otherwise they end up having lots of inflammation in their guts because of all the lectins not being absorbed. So that's what I mean by not foolproof. Or a lot of vegans, or let's say plant-based people, just think whatever, unless it's not from animal, it's good. They would eat a lot of just carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates, even gluten-containing stuff. They will eat even stuff that I personally would never touch. I would say it's called Frankenstein's foods, or like stuff like Beyond Meat, and I don't know the term for it. I would say it's processed plant-based food, or fake meats. That stuff is really nasty, and has nothing to do with a plant-based whole food diet. So there's so much stuff to know in comparison to, let's say, animal-based, and stuff that Weston Price would talk about would be more like, let's say, animal approaches. He visited the Aborigines, the Native Americans. He visited Switzerland, like the more ancestral living people there. He visited Africa. And all these tribes had in common that they mostly ate animal foods, no processed foods for sure, but not a lot of plants besides the stuff that they would gather, because they didn't plant anything back then. There was no agriculture. And you could still go see Hadza tribes or other indigenous living people, and they don't do agriculture. They just hunt and they live from the food, which makes sense because it's more, let's say, nutrient rich. What I'm focusing on for patients is just, what you just said at the beginning is, we are overfed, but I believe we overfed with let's say, calories that don't contain any nutrients. So what we should do is eat. You can eat super caloric low, but high in nutrients. For example, that goes just with the protein. A chicken fillet has 100 grams of chicken fillet, has let's say about 22 grams of protein, but that's basically it. But if you do 100 grams of, let's say, some liver, you have 22 grams of protein, but you have all the micronutrients you need to detoxify and build, because it's just more rich in it.
Right, I understand. Yeah, 100%. I think a big take home is, if you're eating vegan or plant-based, to make sure you do enough research before you have a child, if you want to stick with it, to make sure you're eating the right foods in the right combination, in the right modality of approach to optimizing those nutrients. I always say there's always some more work we need to do. I wish there was like a standardized body that says, okay, if you're vegan, do this first. Research this first. Here's the stepwise process, because it takes more work. And often when we don't have that education, we go straight to what you said, the Franken foods, high carbohydrate meals, low protein. So it's just always something that I also recommend. Athletic Greens is a product that I literally use every single day, because it is comprehensive. What that means is that I'm getting a full span of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, gut-supporting, stress-supporting ingredients to create a formula that looks like this: Athletic Greens to powder. And like so many green powders out there, and I know you've tried it, they taste really earthy or kind of grassy. They have a taste like it's healthy, and we correlate super healthy with not really good tasting. Athletic Greens has really dialed in the taste. So now you're drinking something that's super healthy, but tastes good, right? A little bit of pineapple, a little bit of vanilla is adding to that tropical taste that you're experiencing. So what is this? As I mentioned, it's 75 different high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens to really get the day going for you the way it's supposed to, right? With all the energy, all the focus, all of the nutrition that you're really needing to get, especially in the morning. There's less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, no artificial anything, and it tastes good, right? So you're supporting better sleep quality, better recovery, better overall mental clarity and alertness, which is so, so important. So many of us are suffering with fatigue, brain fog, right? Not executing the way we want to, lacking creativity. Athletic Greens is a small micro habit, and it's got a big benefit. You do this every single day, and it compounds over time. And you know, here at Heal Thyself, we only partner with brands that we truly believe in, and Athletic Greens is one of them. They're a great company focused on the buzzword of this year and next, sustainability. For one, they're a climate neutral certified company. In 2020, they purchased carbon credits that support projects protecting old growth rainforests. Additionally, for every purchase, they donate to organizations helping get nutritious food to kids in need, including No Kid Hungry here in the United States. In 2020, they donated over 1.2 million meals to kids. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/healthyself. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/healthyself to start really taking ownership over your health. Pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Bet you didn't know that 75 to 90% of all doctor's visits are related to stress. You heard me talk about this before. Stress is leading to so much disease and dysfunction. Now, many of us are operating in survival mode, and we expect our skin, our bodies, our minds to thrive when our gas tank is on empty. So to change this, here at Heal Thyself, we love this new purpose-led, California-based hemp CBD brand, Prima. They're dedicated to helping you rise above modern-day stress. They have doctor-formulated products that are clinically validated, and they're high performance for the skin, body, and mind. Here I'm holding the Sleep Tight Blend, one of my favorite ones. What this is a mix of not only CBD, but it also has a bioterpene complex. What that's doing is increasing the absorbability, and it has a mix of all of my favorite nutrients and herbs for sleep, like chamomile, hops, GABA, 5-HTP, California poppy, passion flower, which is the most beautiful one of all and my favorite, and lavender. So when you have a mix like this, all of those herbs are working synergistically with the CBD to really help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and not feel super groggy. So for the Heal Thyself listener, Prima's offering an exclusive limited time 20% off offer code, and it's Heal Thyself. Head to prima.co with the code Heal Thyself, and you'll receive a limited time 20% off and get the relief you deserve so you can feel better every single day. When it comes to these nutrients, and mom is pregnant and giving birth to the baby, and even when in the few first years of life, why are these nutrients important in jaw development? What are they doing as far as the growth and accommodation of the teeth?
The nutrients are not just for the jaw development. Let's say this. I always say that the tooth is the mirror to your overall body, and if you have unhealthy teeth, this also would equal an unhealthy body, or if you have no space for them. Just see it like this. When you're growing, nature has it right usually. So the genes are not the problem. What happens epigenetically is important. So if you, while you're growing, have enough of all the building nutrients, first building block of life is actually amino acids and protein, then you will be able to have enough material to build a wide jaw, to have enough space for your teeth, to breathe through your nose. That's just common logic, because why would nature bring you to makes faults there? That makes no sense. But there's more to it. It's also breastfeeding in itself develops the jaw. Like if you're able to breastfeed your baby when that's the most ideal thing you can do for jaw development, because just sucking on the nipple in comparison to sucking on a baby bottle is about 10 times more strength for the baby, which basically develops your whole jaw, your lower jaw. It comes forward from sucking. Also, if you look at babies, while drinking on the breast, they always really need to squeeze in the air through their nose. So it also develops nose breathing, which is super important for your whole palate and widening it, because the problem later on in life, when our teenagers are 12, 13, 14, 15, when it comes to braces, which is common in Western world, we don't have space for our teeth and we don't have space for our wisdom teeth. Then we need a surgery. So in order to avoid all these things, you basically need to start super early. With feeding the mom and therefore the baby in the womb with the right nutrients, but then also afterwards. Obviously, the breast milk is made from the food you eat, and this is what the baby gets. We can go into certain trimesters where you have to focus on different nutrients. For example, in the third trimester in pregnancy, it's when the whole nervous system and brain develops. This is when you need to focus on healthy fats more. Protein is always baseline, but you need the healthy fats to develop the nervous system. So this is also very critical. Also, obviously, when building the right, let's say, breast milk formula, because breast milk is, again, depending on what you ate or eat. And what's also interesting is that a breastfed baby has a total different oral microbiome than a formula-fed baby. So it's all one big thing. And obviously, the more nutrients you could get from macro to micro, the better the building of the body is. And therefore also the teeth and the jaw and the nose and the breathing.
Yeah, and it makes sense that nature provides us with these nutrients. It's our choice to really start getting and integrating these foods. And then with those substrates, it's just creating what it knows genetically, right? To accommodate your jaw, your teeth, your breathing, your palate. It's supposed to develop like that. And are you saying that nutrient deficiencies are what's causing the narrowing of the palates, the issue with breathing, nasal breathing, the crowding of the teeth, the wisdom teeth surgeries?
Yes, basically, yes. I'm just referring to the work of Western Price and also obviously thousands of patients I've seen, and myself included. I had braces twice in my youth. It was just normal for me and for everybody else. In Germany, I would say 80% of all kids get braces, and at least 80% of all the patients need wisdom teeth removal, which is totally uncommon if you go to Africa or some places where you eat more ancestrally. This is just Western world stuff mostly. I'm not over-exaggerating here. And the Western Price already realized it when he saw that, okay, kids from indigenous people that could eat processed foods like sugar, grains, which started in the industrial world, already were growing very weird. So super narrow faces, very crowded teeth, like all the problems that we nowadays see. So he really could draw very much a correlation there, or I wouldn't say all causation, but the goal for us needs to be to turn on as much as possible the good epigenetic version of us. So all the genes that work for us instead of opposite. So it's clear that processed foods will lead to insulin resistance, diabetes, also steal nutrients. Like sugar depletes us from critical B vitamins, from minerals. Also, you know that if you eat a lot of gluten-containing grains or grains overall, that they are chelating minerals, and you need minerals for growth, for bones and for teeth. Despite having an amino acid deficiency, is also then minerals, but also all the inflammation. For example, I was personally allergic to cows or to conventional cow milk, actually to casein. I didn't know as a kid, but I know I had recurrent tonsillitis as a kid, and I would get antibiotics basically once a month, which was just normal for me. And they just wanted to rip out my tonsils, and because of all the inflammation there, I could never breathe through my nose was all basically swollen up. So I had to breathe through my mouth, which led to further wrong development of my teeth. And my jaw was just growing too small. Basically, if you look from the side, I have a very big jawline, but my mid-face is too small. And this is what happens a lot of times, that just mid-face development lags behind. And just compare, if you see more endogenous living people, they have their wisdom teeth all in space. It's like perfect. I had one nurse from Africa once, from Kenya. She just came in. So she grew up in Kenya, in Africa, for 24 years before she came to Germany. So she had the very natural lifestyle. She ate the sweet potatoes. Obviously, she ate the fish and everything they had, because processed foods were for the rich people there. Nobody could afford it, so they just eat what's happening. And she came in, beautiful teeth. She was a perfect example, and it's not one example, but it's still like it, because obviously, if you provide what nature needs to build your body, you just grow. Why would you need braces? Crowded teeth are not a braces deficiency or anything like that. And wisdom teeth having no space is obviously an epigenetic problem. It's not your genes. Maybe it flips over one generation because your parents had it too, and it takes a bit to adapt. I hopefully can save my kids from their wisdom teeth removal and from their braces, because I remember that's like the worst. And you know about cavitations, all these things. If you had wisdom tooth removal, it's not done by that. It's most likely that you develop anything else. So it's really important that we teach parents early on, so that that we need to, if we could put dentists out of business when it comes to repair, that would be amazing, right? And tooth decay, a healthy body is immune against tooth decay. We know that. It's still the number one chronic disease worldwide. And I know we can do something about it, but it all starts with education of the parents and stopping the kids' menus and all these things.
So, I mean, like, that's amazing information. When we think about and I love that you used your jaws example, because I know a lot of us are actually viewing and listening and kind of touching on our jaws and looking in the mirror like, whoa, okay, is this developed? I remember when I was young, when I had braces, they needed to take out 2, 4, 8 teeth, right? Including all of my wisdom teeth and some of my molars. And it was just incredible to me that still, even at that, there was still crowding, right? So I was like, wow, I wonder how much more developed the jaw should be. Because for me, I was eating Western processed foods, like all of the yummy snacks from the 90s that I had in the pantry, that was so much of my diet. But to think about the importance of the nutrient-rich food, how that epigenetically would have created a more healthy version. Because now I'll sometimes suffer from, when I'm sleeping on my back, I'll have shortness of breath, because my tongue can't, there's a weakness, there's a jaw combination, the palate's narrow, the airway's closed more, so a lot of time I have to go on my side. And I know, I would imagine you in your practice see a lot of this, a lot of people going, I'm not breathing right anymore, What are some of the effects that you see for people who have narrow palates or underdeveloped jaws?
Yeah, like you said, first of all, like you said, nose breathing gets way more difficult if you obviously have a more narrow face. And then I would already say 80% of the patients I see are kind of breathing through their mouth, which is an adaptation, just in order to get enough air and airways. And you know that there's a lot of sleep apnea out there and lots of inflammation, because nose breathing is not just to develop your upper jaw and your palate, it's also there to basically upregulate NO production, which helps your oral microbiome to, first of all, with foods, but also it's an antioxidant. And also, besides the air that you get, it's cleaning up. It's helping your immune system by cleaning the air or filtering the air first. And if you just can't breathe through your nose and just breathe with open mouth, you have basically your immune system gets in contact straight away without filtering, but also the air dries out your saliva, and you need saliva to protect your teeth, which then maybe get more prone to tooth decay, which also get more prone to, let's say, gingivitis, or not so soothing liquids in there. So it's the whole ecosystem just flips if you just change from nose to mouth breathing. And I personally, again, my personal example, I needed to learn nose breathing before I had my second wisdom teeth, because I had before I had my second braces, because I had my first braces when I was about 12. Everything looked nice and straight. But obviously I wasn't wearing the retainers and I was still growing, and everything collapsed again and it was very narrow and crooked. And then I was in university, actually, I was able to go into a study and had a braces inside, which was hell. But still, in order to do that, I had to go to I don't know in English, it's somebody who trains you how to put your tongue up and how to breathe through your nose again. So I was totally breathing through my mouth, probably from 8 years onwards to 24, 25. So it was hard to retrain that, but it's possible. But imagine all that suffering or all these problems that for me, like you said, it was just normal. I was eating the pantries from the 90s. I was drinking tons of sodas. I was a skateboarder and basically ate a lot of fast foods, and I'm still. And obviously, if I can avoid all these things, at least the pain for braces and all the wisdom tooth removal for my kids or future generations or everybody, that would be the major goal, because it's so much pain and trauma. And you had 8 teeth removed. And I see people on a daily basis that come in from all over the world so that we find chronic inflammation in the jawbone, which stems from tooth removal, because you probably had your teeth removed when you were in your teenage years, when you were eating the pantry food, and when you were, in my opinion, in hibernation mode. So your body was just not prepared for a surgery, which means you didn't heal it. So if I do a cone beam scan on you, I will probably find lots of cavitations, which are sitting on your wisdom tooth area, which is energetically connected to your small intestine and heart meridian and adrenal glands, making you maybe a little bit less energetic as you could be. A lot of people have, let's say, chronic fatigue from it, irritable bowel syndrome, tons of different things, and nobody finds the solution. And then it's just what I mean, it's a silent inflammation in your jawbone stemming from the wisdom tooth removal that could have been avoided maybe by teaching early. And I think this is something that we really have to focus on. Right now, it's future work, but still I think we should start now to invest, or to tell people how to invest in optimal health. Not just absence of disease, like regular health, but optimal health.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the key, right? That is the definition of health, right? It's not absence of disease. It's truly being in your optimal and thriving. Now, we often hear that the average adult should sleep 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. And I agree with that. But it's not always possible for everyone, right? Especially because we're in a society that's really pushing and going and accolades and achievements. But more and more people are forced to make lifestyle changes to really get deep sleep. And that's where all the biohacks start coming in, all the supplements, all the things to really pave the way for us to get a really deep sleep. The good news is that research has shown that quality matters just as much as quantity. What exactly is deep sleep and how do we achieve this? The first half of your night, your deep sleep window opens. And this is when all things drop. Your heart rate, your breathing, your blood pressure, your muscle activity, your body temperature. And since that temperature drop is so crucial for deep sleep, finding ways to activate that sleep switch can really help your levels of deep sleep optimize. This is where Chili Sleep comes in. Chili Sleep makes customizable, climate-controlled sleep solutions to help you improve your entire well-being. They make the new Doc Pro, the Uller, and the Cube sleep systems, which are hydro-powered, temperature-controlled mattress toppers, and they fit over your existing mattress to provide an ideal sleep temperature. They're luxury mattress pads, and they keep your bed at the perfect temperature for deep sleep. Whether you sleep hot or whether you sleep cold, these sleep systems are designed to help you fall asleep at the temperature that is right for you. Head over to chilisleep.com/DRG to learn more. And they're giving a 30% off of any new sleep system exclusive to Only Heal Thyself listeners. Again, that's Chili, CHILI, sleep.com/DRG to take advantage of the exclusive discount and waking up feeling refreshed, good to go every single morning. If you're looking for a company with natural plant-based medicines and herbal remedies, Amina Mundi is the answer. This is my favorite herbal company out there. Amina Mundi was founded by Costa Rican herbalist Adriana Ayales. It is a female BIPOC and Latinx family-owned and operated company. The products are made in an FDA-registered and a CGMP-certified facility, very important for quality. They use eco-friendly packaging and recyclable glass and biodegradable bags, right? Really big on sustainability in the environment. All products are made in the United States with certified organic herbs. You know I love that word. Wild and sustainably harvested plants in vegan and gluten-free environments. They got 0 fillers, 0 binders, 0 flow agents. You're getting pure botanical powders, teas, and beyond. Their apothecary has sustainably grown, and they contain now over 200 different herbs from around the world. Aminamundi's project educates and supports true fair trade practices beyond organic. They're big on education and supporting small farmers to create remedies that benefit all walks of life. So right now, you can get 15% off of all the products at Aminamundi with the code HealThyself15. Again, that's 15% off the products with the code HealThyself15. You said something very interesting. I know there's a lot of people viewing, listening that says, hey, I've had my wisdom teeth out. I remember the time, and I remember putting the ice, and I remember how swollen I was, and maybe, God forbid you do both sides, and then you're really going through it. I did one side at a time. But you mentioned about cavitations. Why are cavitations formed? Is it because you're in hibernation mode, as you said, you're not ready for the surgery? And what are cavitations? And just can you go a little further about how that might be affecting our health now in the future now as something we did in the past?
Yes. So cavitations is the layman's term for something called FDOJ, fatty degenerative osteonecrotic jawbone, which unfortunately is not trained in university yet, but still a very common phenomenon. And yes, I would say just, let's say, generally speaking, it forms after any sort of tooth extraction because your body wasn't prepared for the surgery, and the surgery maybe was too traumatic and at the wrong timing. So most people get their wisdom teeth removed when they're in between 12 to 20 years old. And you know how teenagers live. Like you said, they ate the crappy foods. And then, just my example, my mom just told me, Dom, tomorrow is your appointment with the surgeon. We'll take out the wisdom tooth. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. And obviously, I wasn't prepared at all. I was probably eating a Big Mac right afterwards. And then, like you said, swollen cheeks, nutritional deficiency. I was also smoking and drinking alcohol. So I had no clue about anything. And my body was just not able to heal and recover from it. And then the problem is the healing doesn't really take place. A lot of you guys maybe remember that it didn't really heal, that you had to go back to the dentist, that you had huge swelling, but maybe also an inflammation. You maybe needed some antibiotics, maybe some local antibiotics. It's called dry socket. That's what people develop a lot of times. So the wound doesn't really close primarily, but secondarily, which again it's an opening. Like your mouth and your gum is basically outside body. As soon as the gum opens and we have bone, it's inside body. So all the oral microbes that are not bad by itself, especially the anaerobic ones, if they then go into your tissue in the bone and then live in there and build problems, that's where it all starts. And the cavitation is basically the sponges part of the bone inside the caudical part. Inside, so the jawbone is outside, is hard, it's caudical, but inside normally it's kind of like, it looks like a sponge. But what we see in the cavitation is there is no sponge. There's fatty tissue in there. There's degenerative osteonecrotic jawbone. It really looks super nasty. And what we found in there, or there's lots of studies from Dr. Lechner from Germany. He finds anything in there, like various toxins, heavy metals, glyphosates, but also parasites, fungi. I have a lot of patients coming in from the US especially because you guys have a big mold issue there. And mold spores, they live in these cavitations. Now imagine having a cavitation in your jawbone. You don't even feel it because it's mostly a silent inflammation. There is your trigeminal nerve, which is a brain nerve, one of the most important cranial nerves, which starts here, and is able to transport all these toxins that are in there on a daily basis in your nervous system. There's always a parasympathetic, a vagal nerve with it. So what happens is you get into chronic fight and flight mode, stress mode, plus various toxins and cytokines and chemokines, which disrupt your whole body, and you don't even realize it. For me personally, I was grinding my teeth at night. I had very bad skin, like really skin rashes when I was like 30, 35 years old. And I was a little bit like this in the morning, a little bit jittery. And I was thinking, dude, am I getting Parkinson's or what's happening here? And one day I was at the clinic doing surgeries, and I was really cramping up and like really tense. And there was another naturopathic doctor coming in, and he's like, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening today. And he's like, okay, I test you, muscle testing, ART. And he said, okay, there's something going on in your jawbone. There's an interference field. And I was like, nah, that's just from grinding probably. And he said, no, let's do a cone beam on me personally. And it's like, okay, let's do it. And we found huge cavitations. Then I remembered, wow, I had my wisdom teeth removed. And the cavitations were the size of a whole tooth. And we did the surgery. And I was kind of the guinea pig for that back then. It's more than 10 years ago. And the funny thing was, on the chair while doing surgery, I was like, I had to laugh to my surgeon because like my chronic back pain in the middle of my back was just disappearing. And I was like, is that even possible? And on the next day, this jittery thing was gone. Luckily, I did my hormones before and afterwards and did a lot of studying around it. And when I did the second surgery on the left side, my whole skin rash went away. It was just gone. Within 2 weeks after surgery, I had this skin. Like I would be a model for any sort of skin moisture or whatever. And it took me 5 years to find that. And it was just in exclamation mark, it was just a cavitation, a chronic silent inflammation in the jawbone stemming from the wisdom teeth, which are on the meridian chart connected to heart meridian, small intestine. Small intestine and skin is one thing, as well as adrenal glands. And I was just having too much cortisol production because I have very strong adrenal glands, and that's what the jittery came from. And the cortisol was through the roof. Obviously, from my body produced to deal with the pain, like to reduce it, because you don't feel it anymore. Your body just adapts to anything. The surgery was 15 years earlier. And 15 years later, my body was just dealing with it. And basically what it does is chronic issues are the most problematic because your body kind of gets lazy because you can't do anything, and then just slows down the receptors and you don't feel the pain anymore. So that's why we have to clean this with surgery again, to make it accurate again, to heal it, to disinfect it. We use ozone, all the different things in order to get that rid. And you could open up a clinic, a miracle healing clinic, just by doing cavitations, because people always report overall systemic health improvements, which are sometimes unbelievable.
It's just incredible to hear something like that. The fact that we have what we think is a necessary surgery when we're younger that is very much so commonplace. Although everyone I knew had wisdom teeth removal, my ticket was up and I got my wisdom teeth removed. And to think that may lay, not for everyone, but certainly more than a few people, the foundation for having chronic inflammation down the road. And then on top of that, that connecting to full body manifestations like skin issues, GI issues, potentially heart issues is incredible for me. I love that you said miracle healing clinic. If you and me opened a clinic over here in Malibu and we just did detox and cavitations, imagine how many people can just be healed from these mystery chronic diseases that they've had for so long. But I understand because it's chronic inflammation in the body over and over and over and over. And of course, that's going to cause disease down the road. Now, is it always surgery? What is that like? Because I know there's people viewing and listening going, I've had wisdom teeth, I have weird issues. We get a cone beam scan, they check for cavitations, and then do we always have to get the surgery?
So one thing to add to the cavitation is, I come to the surgery in 1 second. One thing to add is, in these cavitations, there's a specific chemokine they find. It's called RANTS, R-A-N-T-S, or CCL5, which would be probably interesting for you as a doctor. Because if you type it in Google Scholar, CCL5 or RANTS, plus any sort of symptom, let's say type in RANTS plus multiple sclerosis, and you initially find 3,000 paper reviews or paper references. And the problem is medical doctors look for this, and the main focus for it would be in the jawbone, but dentists don't know about it. So even though you have a cone beam, but you have no dentist that is skilled in how to look for it because they don't even know that it's existing, then the cone beam doesn't matter. And actually, there are centers in Germany that diagnose cone beams for dentists. This is where we have our training when we are certified to become a cone beam practitioner. And you have to do 50 to 100 cone beams before you're certified. And literally on everyone, I found cavitations. And I told this doctor, and I said, look here, cavitation, cavitation, cavitation. He's like, yes, you're totally right. It's called osteolytic jawbone. But we don't even diagnose it. Nobody asks for it. So it wouldn't be on a diagnosis from that one. So yes, when we have to deal with it later on, the problem is it's chronic, it's silent, and your body it's kind of like not included anymore. It's an area that is out of sight. You have to get new inflammation, new acuteness into there in order to heal it. But this time, please, don't just go to the surgeon and do a surgery. This time, be prepared. This is what we do. We start very much early, depending on where you stand in order of you're already being optimized or not. If you're already optimized, it's possible to probably start it within 2 weeks, but most people are not optimized, so we prepare 4 to 6 weeks prior to surgery. We're changing the lifestyle, changing the nutrition, adding in the right micronutrients, so that when we do the surgery, I make sure it's the last time I will see you as a dental surgeon patient, because then you heal. And we'll use everything that's possible in order to help your body heal to the next level. You will get a lot of IV nutrition before you go there. We use hyperbaric oxygen. We use red light laser. We use intravenous laser. We do everything in order to prepare your body for the surgery. The surgery in itself is as minimal invasive as you can imagine. I'm an oral surgeon. I learned big surgeon, big cuts. This is how you train, fast surgery and stuff. But what we do is almost no cuts, if possible, and very minimal invasive surgery. We use piezo surgery, and the goal is to not hurt you, but just take that stuff out. And you need a surgery for this, because if you saw it once, you know why, because you have to take that stuff out. It's a huge detoxification. Maybe it's a huge antifungal treatment because you have mold in there. Imagine you try to get rid of mold. You left your home. You travel to Germany. You live in your car. I have patients like that. They live in their car from the US. And then they come see me, and I dig out 8 cubic centimeters of mushy bone.
Wow.
And then they finally heal. And obviously we use a lot of ozone in the jawbone when we clean it. We do PRP from the veins to put it afterwards in the wound. But also your body is super boosted. Before I even see you know how to optimize your health and be anabolic AF in order to heal. And then again, on top, the IVs, the different protocols. Also, hyperbaric oxygen is extremely good for to build bone and tissue, but also extremely anti-inflammatory, as well as antimicrobial, as well as all the nutrients. So everything is there in order to help your body heal as fast as possible from it, but also so that you learn as much as possible on how to invest in optimal health, which starts in the mouth from our side by eating and all these things, but also taking out the interference. And then within the next 4 to 6 months, you are challenged to obviously keep that lifestyle in order to build bone, because your bone grows super slow. Only 1 millimeter, 3-dimensionally. And imagine it's about, let's say, 1.5 cubic centimeters that need to heal. It takes a while. And I always say we modernize your home right now in order to have a good construction area. What we need is building blocks and energy and nutrients. And then the patient will know exactly. And then we will do a follow-up checkup within 3 months, and then within 6 months, depending on where you're coming from. If you're from the US, it's probably within 6 months. And also what we do in that health optimization week is we take out all root canals and place immediate ceramic implants, no titanium. We also take out all the metals under safe measurements, obviously, so that we make sure we plan the whole mouth without cavitations, without root canals, but neutral alternative. And then your body is really able to heal. It doesn't make sense to do one thing and let the rest block your body. So that when you come back after 6 months, you get your nice, healthy, aesthetic teeth. But if possible, you learn so much that I will never see you again as a dental patient. You can come in for IVs, you can come in for optimal health, for health optimization, but never for dentistry again. Maybe for professional cleanings. But if you get another cavity, I did something wrong here and you didn't accept challenge, because it's all about you and your responsibility.
Oh man, my brother.
I can just provide solutions.
That's very inspiring to hear. I mean, like, this is how we should all work as health practitioners, is let's optimize you. This is what I used to say when I was in practice. When you have everything you need, I hope I don't see you again, and then they walk out the door, and many of them I never saw again. They checked in, they said, I'm feeling great. Love that. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink with everything you need and nothing that you don't. That means you get a lot of salt with none of the crap in there, none of the sugar. It contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, very important. 1,000 milligrams, and you'll see it right on the package, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium. It's got none of the junk, none of the sugar, none of the coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, none of the BS that is out there on so many electrolyte powders. Element is formulated to help anyone with electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited for whatever diet you're following. It's super important to replenish electrolytes. Whether you're waking up early in the morning, you're in the sauna, you're working out, your body is always in constant need of electrolytes because it's utilized for everything: conduction of nerve impulses, hormonal regulation, nutrient absorption, even fluid balance. Element's electrolytes can help with headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, sleeplessness, and all the really common symptoms that you see from electrolyte deficiency. So when you sweat, the primary electrolyte that is lost is sodium. And if you're an athlete and you're really working out and you're sweating, you're drenched, you're going to lose about 7 grams per day of sodium. And when that sodium is not replaced, that's leading to muscle cramps, fatigue, and all the other symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. So very important. You don't have to be an athlete, but if you're sweating or using the sauna, really just moving your body and utilizing those electrolytes, you're going to need to replace them. So right now, Element is offering Heal Us Health listeners a free sample pack with any purchase. You're going to get 8 single-serving packets free with any Element order. It's a great way to try all the 8 flavors, right? They're all different. You might like one, you might not like the other, but try them all out. Get yours at drinkelement.com/healthyself. The deal's only available through my link. You must go to drinkLMNT.com/DRG. I'm pretty blown away about the cavitations conversation because now I'm just my hand right now on my wisdom teeth and I was like, whoa, okay. I would venture to say that there's probably some level, who knows the severity, but some level of inflammation going on just by virtue of having the wisdom teeth out. So I really love to get to the bottom of that. Maybe I could do a whole video and document my whole journey on this. Would be really, really cool too.
What we could do is actually, if you want to, just send me your current panoramic X-ray, and I can, for example, we can go over it with a Zoom, or I can film it for you, send it to you, and you can just showcase. And then we can see, okay, do we need a cone beam? And then we can discuss the cone beam. Because I'm happy to teach the whole world. Lately, on the Health Optimization Summit in London, which is the biggest event when it comes to health optimization, I gave a speech and I said, okay, I'm going to help at least 1 million people optimizing their health starting from the mouth. And then 10, and it's not possible alone.
Yes.
It's only possible if we all align. All the coaches, all the doctors, we need to work together to really make health fashionable, and so that we all know that the mouth is a part of the body, but also all the other specialties. We have to finally understand it's one giant art piece, your body, and a huge ecosystem, and every little detail is important. But the mouth, there was so much repair done epigenetically from a dentist. This is the stuff you cannot biohack your way around. You can do your lifestyle, you can change your nutrition, you can do blood works, you can go in nature, you can use all sorts of biohacking. But if you still have a root canal or cavitations or metals, you need to see a biological dentist at one point. But don't freak out right now. You can already start with the other parts.
Yes.
And this is why I designed an online course exactly for this, so that all the knowledge goes out. I don't want to keep it for me. I was able to heal myself when I was very young and had my own problems. And I'm grateful now that I am able to share that, and that we can connect, and that we can both work on spreading the knowledge. And I'm all about co-elevation and not about competition. And this is why we young and wild dentists and doctors, I believe, we can change the future, because we're not in this competitive mindset that we think, oh, our neighbor doctor does that maybe and he doesn't know. There are 7 billion or even more people on this world, and so many are suffering right now from chronic disease, which is the epidemic. And the WHO said it last year, 70% of all chronic disease has somewhat connected to the oral cavity. So but nobody treats it. I think we have to build an army of doctors that know all these things and then work closely together, build health cities, health villages to really teach and preach and model and also inspire people with it. And I think you're doing a great job with voicing it and spreading it out. I'm very happy to give all the interviews and get that information out.
Hell yeah, brother. Thank you. I'm inspired by your passion for it because just because there's a small group of us doesn't mean we can't shift the mountain. And you know, you're talking about oral health, I'm talking about other things like emotions, right? We connect it all, right? Because it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, all those aspects of the holistic approach that you take to your medicine.
Yes, for example, so this was my problem. When I was very, very young, like 21 years old, I crashed basically. Mentally was my main problem. So I was from being normal, I would say I was probably massively depressed then. And this was early 2000s. So if you had depression or any thought of mental things, you kind of were in the corner, especially in Germany. It's like, you fucked, let's just say it like this. And there's no solution for it. And I was like, no, I'm just not normal anymore. Can you not just help me get normal again? No. So it took me years to figure it out what was happening. And this is why I'm very good and know exactly if it's depression or mental health issues. In 99%, the causation is in your body. And for me, it was depletion of neurotransmitters from all the drinking, from all the partying, from wanting to become a skater. And we are the same age. In the 90s, this was a lifestyle thing. We weren't athletes in this case. It was just like, okay, it was cool to smoke a cigarette while doing a kickflip over the pyramid and at least drink as much as possible. So I know how it is. And if you type in mental health, I believe you will find 40 million hashtags on a daily basis. So people are really suffering. And it can be, there are studies showing this. For example, just a root canal leads to depression and lower quality of life by introducing cytokines, IL-6, TNF-alpha, and all these toxins. So it's really, really important to keep in mind that the mouth plays a big role also systemically and there could be a splinter in your mouth that just needs to be taken out and then you heal easier. It's because we have to help the body to heal itself. I'm not the guy who heals. I'm just helping your body, making it to go like it was when it came out of the womb.
Yeah.
That was it. And you didn't come to Earth with no wisdom teeth or wisdom teeth removed already or root canal or any sort of metal in your mouth. That's just basic logic. It's not natural. It's epigenetic change of your code.
Man.
We have to turn the
turning
clock
it back to how we came into this world, right? Young, healthy, vibrant, free, man. And I dig it. You mentioned your course. What is the name of the course that everyone can go and check out?
The course is, it should be coming out the next 2 weeks, is Blueprint to Optimal Health Starting in Your Mouth, kind of like it's the working title. And we did that course live because I wanted to see, is it possible to really do a transformational journey? And we had 25 people in that course and a very good energy. And it was all about health in the first place, about mindset change, but also you will learn everything about the biological dentistry side of things and what you have to ask the dentist for and how to diagnose an x-ray, because I believe that every patient can do that. But also you will learn about food designing, macronutrients, about the micronutrients, and then to give you let's say the manual to become an architect for your health and for your body. And just by starting in your mouth, obviously, because there's so many things. And yeah, this is onboarding for my patients anyways. And I think it's important that we spread it and that people get the knowledge.
Awesome. And where do we find that? The website?
The easiest to follow me is always Instagram. It's at Dr. Dom1. Maybe you have it in the show notes because there's a link. It's called a tab bio, and through that you find the clinic page, my book, the YouTube, the course. Everything is there.
I love that, brother. Listen, I very much so value and see what you're doing in this world, and it's amazing stuff. If you ain't following this guy, man, you need to go on and see. If you have teeth, follow this person. If you have gums, follow this person, man. And that's all of us, because we really need to be educating ourselves about our oral health, because we're grossly undereducated on oral health. We're changing the way that we look at oral health, all this amazing information, all these beautiful gems that people can start integrating to their life. Thank you so much for coming on the show, my brother.